What's happening, everybody? Welcome to episode 4 of Thrifty Business with Jay and Nay. I'm your one host, Vegas Jay.
And I'm Philly Nay. Hi.
What's happening, everybody? All right. Let me start with just, we're going to go a little bit different out of order. This is my best thrifted find in forever. It's an actual cop uniform that fits me. Even the sleeves fit me. This is awesome. So I got this at Savers yesterday for $3. Woo! How you doing, Nay?
I'm great. How are you?
I am good. You know what I'm ready for?
Are you ready for the scores of the week?
No. What do we do first? We do a little Jay's Tiki Talk.
Oh, I forgot about our Tiki Talk.
We've been talking about cocktails all day. And you forgot?
I'm sorry. I forgot your Tiki Talk, yes.
Oh, my gosh. How can that be? How can that be?
And I'm sitting here with my cocktail, too.
All right, so this week, Nay wanted to partake again with me in the same cocktail. So we have done a Sailor Jerry cocktail. It's called a Sailor Jerry Grog, and it's a combo of Sailor Jerry rum, orange juice, and light beer. So here's my mug. So cheers to you, my dear.
Cheers.
Now, you might think that sounds horrible, but it's awesome.
It's actually very good, yeah.
But let's talk about this mug a little bit. This is the Mr. Bali Hai, and the Bali Hai is a tiki restaurant in San Diego, still going to this day. It's been around forever. This is a modern version of their mug, which I'll be drinking out of tonight. I also have the vintage version. Now, you need a little lesson here. What you're looking for in the vintage versions is two things. And it's a two-part mug. See, it's got the little lid for the straw holes. What they did was they used what's called cold paint for the red. So see, there's red on the lips, and then there's a little bit of red in the eyes. Over years, people put them in dishwashers and stuff, and that red goes bye-bye. So you're looking for the red. And then the other thing you're looking for is this bone breaks off quite frequently. If you can see, this one was broke off and repaired. So if you find one of these with the red and an unbroken bone in the nose, you're sitting pretty. And then if you are really lucky, you find one with a sticker. So that's the original Otagiri Mercantile Company sticker right there. So, but I did not want to drink out of my vintage one because if I happen to break it, I'd rather break the modern one. So cheers.
And I have my same Jekyll and Hyde mug from the Thrift Hunter show that I always have.
Wait, you don't have 850 mugs?
No, I only have one real nice mug. That's it.
We got to get you a couple more cocktail glasses, though, for the weeks to come, because you know it is about the tiki mug, but it also can be about the rocks glass, the Mai Tai glass, stuff like that.
I'm interested in getting more glassware. That would be good.
Alrighty, now we can jump into our score of the week.
Now we do the scores of the week. Yes.
Yep, and I was on the wrong. There we go.
I see the screen. We're good.
There we go. All right, so let's go to my score first. And my score, if you watched Thrift Hunters, my score was actually purchased about the same time that I purchased the Rad jacket, which you saw me selling Thrift Hunters for $800. This one wasn't as exciting, but I did get a nice return on it. And this is from the movie Street Fighter, which wasn't a real great movie. A bunch of us loved the video game when we were kids, but it was a specific jacket for, I'll zoom in on it, the Australia-Thailand tour of the movie from 1994. So I bought this for $10, and even though it says 124, I sold it for 110 2 days ago. So very fun return, good return on a $10 investment. So those of you who don't look in the jacket section, you're leaving money behind. Go to your jacket section. There is always cool shit in the jacket section, trust me. All right, let's jump right to Nay's. We're not even going to unfreeze the screen. We're going to keep right in it, and we're going to jump right to Nay's score. So here's her first one. Go, okay. Nay.
So I sold, J. Crew always sells well for me for some reason. However, this one was new with tags, and it was a really heavy winter cotton shirt. It's a men's shirt. And this just proves that you should always sell internationally, because it sold last night to a man who lives in Latvia. And in Latvia, it is winter right now. it's cold there. So he would need a heavy knit cotton button front shirt like this. So he paid over $30 to ship it priority to Latvia. I shipped it this morning, and so it's on its way, and that just shows that always sell internationally and always sell all seasons all year round, because it's always the opposite season somewhere else in the world.
Where the hell is Latvia?
It's where my shirt is going. So.
Good answer. Good answer. And then here's your other score. Sorry, I didn't...
Yes, this is a score from a little while back, actually. But this was a heavy Nordic cable knit. It was a wool cardigan. However, it was the key word in here is equestrian. It was an equestrian brand, and the equestrian followers will definitely buy anything that's related to equestrian brand. Like there's a whole niche of equestrian brand sweaters and garments and whatnot. So that was the main key word that I think sold the sweater. So $70, not bad.
Not bad at all. All right, we've seen our scores. And now it's time for the dud of the week. All right, so we will pop over to Nadine's dud here, and let's see what she had for a dud. All right, uno momento, and then I will tell you I'm a little off today because our guest, who you'll see in a little bit, when I asked for a few links, he sent me 6 pages.
It's going to be awesome. Yeah.
That was the first time I've had that many links to bring up, so I was spending a lot of time getting them ready for our guest. All right, here is your dud. Let me get off the just the picture here.
Yes, and the reason that this is a dud is because I found this Nick and Zoe Nordstrom's skirt. It was a size 16, and it was new with tags in a thrift store, and I thought, usually this brand will sell for about $40 or so. However, this is a lesson that when you have something that's new with tags, you should always inspect it very carefully, because it had some flaws. It had a button that was loose. It could be mended, but it really wasn't worth it because it also had a big mark on the top of it. So I disclosed all of that. I actually messaged the buyer and made sure that she was aware of the flaws, and she said, yeah, that's fine. She still wants it. So I didn't actually sell it. I ended up selling it as pre-owned, and I just listed the flaws, and it sold only for $16.99 with free shipping. So that is what I would call a dud. So the lesson there is to always check items, even if they're new with tags. Don't assume that they're going to be in perfect condition just because of that.
And here's my dud. This is a dud again because, once again, I was busy thrifting with friends and I wasn't paying that close attention. Typically, when you find WWF stuff that is still that it says WWF, because it's been WWE for a long, long time, because the pandas won out over the wrestlers. If you don't know what that means, Google WWF lawsuit. But I thought this was a large, and then when I got it home and looked at it, I'm like, oh shoot, it's a kid's large, and it sat in my store for since October, and I finally sold it today for $10. So I was happy to see it go. But yeah, so look for WWF stuff. Just kind of ignore the kid end of it. So, but that being said, if you find something really old WWF kid stuff, maybe, but this wasn't old enough.
Knowing about children's clothing, I would say that would be the maximum price that you would get for something like that if it was a youth shirt.
And see, that's where it comes in handy to have you as my co-pilot. All right, we've done our scores, we've done our duds, and now it is time for... our close encounters of the thrifty kind. I need to set mine up, so Nadine, you are first.
Okay. So my odd encounter was at my favorite Goodwill here in Philadelphia. I had a woman in front of me in line who casually turned around. She was just kind of looking at me, and she said, honey, I think you can use my help. And I had no idea what she was talking about. And then she discreetly handed me a business card, and I looked at her business card, and it was Madam something. I can't find the card now, but she's a fortune teller. and she felt that I needed her fortune-telling services. So it was just an odd place, an odd time to be solicited fortune-telling services, in line at the Goodwill. So that was my thrifty encounter.
So let me ask you, when she said you could use my services, did anything run through your head, like what are her services going to be?
Oh yeah, I was wondering what she was slipping me there, but it was a fortune-telling card. It was but yeah, I had no idea what she was talking about. It was a very odd encounter.
All right, so I'm about to show everyone a picture. I apologize in advance if you have not seen this picture already, but it really much involves my thrifty, close encounters of the thrifty kind. So we had the eBay radio party here last week, and at a side party we threw, this picture of me was taken. No shirt, eBay tutu. And I posed for it. I knew it was up there. It was not a surprise. But I walked into a estate sale this weekend, and I was there for about 2 minutes, and the people who run the estate sale said, "Oh, I saw you topless with a tutu on Facebook." So I guess people follow me everywhere I go.
Yes. And I even texted Jason that night, and I said, "Are you aware that picture of you is up there?" And he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm fine with it." It's like, okay.
I posed for it,
Yeah, so I just wanted to check. That was all.
Two things about me is I always go for the joke, and I just have no shame or fear.
No, you don't.
Because I know people will laugh. Some people are like, "Oh, my eyes," but it was funny. So yeah, I see people being scary. Yeah, I know. I am not an Adonis. I got that. I'm a big bear. Alrighty, so let's go to our thrifty tip of the week. Well, it would help to have it on the screen. I was going so smooth too. Damn, let's try it again. All right, Nate, what's your thrifty tip of the week?
My thrifty tip of the week is to not expect just every section of the store to have its said section items in it. What I'm trying to say is if you just shop certain sections, you're going to be missing out, because you never know when you're going to find that Robert Graham men's shirt in the women's section, or that great tiki mug in the vase section with the dollar store vases around it, or you might find in the children's section, I found that awesome Chiquita biker jersey that I had shown last week. That was in the kids section, and it was a women's shirt. So you never know what you're going to find in what section of the store. Often things are miscategorized. So if you're just shopping by section by what you sell, you're going to miss out. So you should expect the unexpected in all sections, because things are often misfiled in the thrift stores.
And before I jump into mine, and I will, real quick, somebody was saying they had a hard time finding the link to get into the show. So let me tell you where it's easiest to find it. Number one, our fan page, Thrifty Business with Jay and Nay on Facebook. Please stop by, like our fan page. We got tons of funny pictures. We're going to have some fun videos. We always have the link to the show, probably a couple times in a week. But yeah, come on by there. If you're in Thrifting with the Boys, the link is always in there. And if you click on follow me on the YouTube channel that you're on right now watching this, it'll alert you when new things come up, like this show or any other videos we put up. So those are the easiest ways to find us. Probably the best, other than subscribing to me on YouTube, is Thrifty Business with Jay and Nay. All right, so here is my thrifty tip of the week. And it works really well into our guest. Our guest is going to talk about records. I went to a record store today, and I took in 144 pieces of crap. When I buy collections, I work them so I sell them. So whether it's records or CDs, DVDs, tapes, whatever, I work them until the crap is left, and I pile it up, and then if I'm near a record store, I trade them in. So I took 144 things that nobody wanted anywhere, and I got $190 in trade for them. Now, they were very slow today, and I was getting annoyed, and I bought a couple CDs and a record. But they now have a book section, so here's your big tip. If you're in a bookstore, if you're in a thrift store, if you're in a record store that has books, go find the section where the music books are, the guitar tabs or the pianos. And here's the books I bought, and I'll tell you what I paid and what they're worth. So I used the Amazon app to quickly scan them. I paid $3.99 for this, But I mean, I really didn't pay because I used trade. But the cheapest one on Amazon is $100. This is the band 311. I paid $6.99. The cheapest one on Amazon is $85. This is Dashboard Confessional. I paid $6. Amazon price $25. This is The Producers from Mel Brooks, the musical. Whoops, that way. I paid $5. Its cheapest one is $23. Fear Factory. Oh wait, I'm actually gonna save that one because that one will blow your mind. What do we got here? The Light in the Piazza. It's I think it's a musical. I paid $8. It's worth $34. Yellow Card is a band. I paid $7. It's worth $20. And then my two big ones, my Pink Floyd, The Division Bell. I paid $10.99. It's worth $75. And then Fear Factory. I paid $7. There's only two on Amazon. The cheapest one is $236.
That's great.
So that's my tip of the week. Look for the music books. Use your Amazon app to scan them, and you will find some gems.
That's a good tip. I never look at the music books. I'm going to start looking.
See the stuff you learn on our show?
I learned.
All right. We have done all that, and now it is time for... You have got to be shipping me. It is time for our shipping tips of the week. And I'm going to go first. I have talked about this on the other show I do with Chris Green from Amazon Seller. And I'm going to tell you guys, if you have Amazon Prime, and if you don't, why don't you? If you have Amazon Prime and you need to order a bunch of small things, like I did this week, don't order them together. They come in one medium-sized box. We all always need good small boxes. So what you do is order your first thing. As soon as you get the email that it's shipped, order your second thing. You get the email that it's shipped, order your third thing. So here is the fun boxes that I've got this week because I do it that way. I wonder how much Minions paid to have Amazon boxes. So I got that box. I got this nice small box. This same one, but the bonus on this one was the product came in a box on the inside. Yay, 4 boxes.
That's a great tip.
That's my shipping tip. Order separately. Wait till they ship. You get more boxes. We always all need boxes.
I love it. That's great.
All right, girlfriend, you're up.
Okay, so my tip of the week is we order these. I order these priority flat rate padded envelopes from the USPS site online. If you don't know about them, they're actually bubble lined and they hold up really great. They're plastic. They're waterproof. And they also ship, if you have a TRS discount on eBay, they ship for a little over $5. If you don't, I think they're like $6 or something. But they're always cheaper, and they go by any weight. So.
Hey, Nay, I'm going to pause you for a sec because don't forget, we always have newer viewers. What is TRS?
Top rated seller.
And you get
a discount, yes.
That's right.
So I have this pair of jeans here. It's a pair of women's jeans, and they're bulky. And this also goes for bulky sweaters, men's jeans, plus size clothing. Yet now, if I tried to just fold this pair of jeans and put it in the envelope, I would really have to stuff it in there. I would have to struggle. I mean, it's a struggle. It's not going to go in there easily. So what I do is I roll the jeans and get them as small as I possibly can. And then I stuff them in this is a gallon-size Ziploc bag. However, for larger size, plus size clothing, and also like bulkier sweaters, I will, you can also at the dollar store get 2-gallon-size bags, so they also work. So you just zip it, get all the air out of it so that it's completely airtight. So the jeans are now much more compressed. No air in the bag. Open up the padded flat rate mailer, and it just slides right in. And you can easily close the flap, and your jeans are in the envelope.
Now, what size are those?
These are like a women's size 8 jeans, so they're not huge jeans, but they're also bell bottom. So they're bulky, they're heavy. So
those are women's.
They weigh about 2 pounds. So
Those are women's 8s, and they didn't have anything big, but we, and when I say we, I mean me and my assistant, we have gotten in like
Yeah, you can get things much bigger.
Oh yeah, 56 waist. I mean, you gotta muscle it, but
you can use the same method to get anything larger in. Like I said, use the 2-gallon bags. If you don't have those, you can use the plastic that the dry cleaning comes in, and you can actually just wrap your item in that, and it slides in very easily. Once it's in the plastic, and you suck the air out of it, you can get pretty much anything in these envelopes.
By the way, if you are watching and chatting in the feed, and I recommend, there's a nice chat going on. Christine Lemoyne is a good friend of ours. She's one of the admins in our groups. She is our official answer queen. So if we say something like TRS and she writes top rated seller, I'm sure nobody's going to lie on our chat, but she is.
Christine is our girl. Yeah,
she's our official girl. So
yes, we love her. We love Christine.
All right, so we've got one more segment before we bring our guest on as our viewer 2-minute topic of the week. And so the question comes from, oh, look at that. It comes from Christine herself. Look at that. It's like I planned that out or something.
Yes.
When you are out thrifting, do you think in terms of buying just for eBay or for Amazon and Craigslist too? All right, so I'm going to try something new here. I'm going to get it right on the screen so people can see it. I'm going to lock you onto the screen.
Okay.
And I'm going to start it as soon as I can figure out where the start button is. Hang on.
My first, then?
Yep, you are first, and here we go. Go.
At this current time, I only sell on eBay, so everything that I'm looking for is for eBay. However, I think I am going to branch out to Amazon soon. So I am starting to think about retail arbitrage. I have some friends who do a lot of retail arbitrage, and they're teaching me more about Amazon. So I think in the future, when I do some more retail arbitrage and not thrifting, I will think about more of Amazon. And there are things that do sell better on Amazon. Some of the CDs, like Jason sells, sell better on Amazon. I don't personally sell CDs, but I might branch out to that. So right now, only eBay, but in the future, maybe I will branch out to Amazon. As far as Craigslist, I've had some odd encounters with Craigslist people, so I'm not too thrilled with selling on Craigslist, but for bigger, bulkier items, I have done it on occasion, mostly for things that I've had around the house, furniture and whatnot.
Time's up. Oh my God, you were to go over this time.
We're done.
Miss 55 went over. I had to stop you. All righty, let me set it here so you can see me and the timer. And I'm going to talk about how I shop. Reset. Here we go. So I do everything that Nadine said. The end. No, just kidding. But I also shop a little bit differently because I have a booth in an antique mall. So I can now buy bigger things, bulkier things, more fragile things, just really anything. I was just at my booth today. Here's a shout out. It's called Sin City Pickers here in Vegas. It's on the corner of Wyoming and Main Street. It's 10 Wyoming, and it's right behind the Stratosphere. So if you're in town, come see me. My booth is in the back. It's 1029. You will definitely know it by all the fun tiki mugs and other tchotchke stuff that I'm kind of known for. But yes, I think of eBay first, Amazon second, my booth third, and then Craigslist. And the problem with Craigslist, I have so much cool stuff I want to put on Craigslist, and it always seems to get to the end of the list of things to do. So I work all week on eBay, and I do my things on Amazon. I refresh my booth, and then it's Craigslist time, and I'm like, I'm too tired to list Craigslist. So yeah, I think the whole picture too. Oh, I came in short.
So Christine just posted a comment in the chat, and it's very true. I did have someone show up at my house in a bra and no shirt for a Craigslist purchase. She also had big pink bunny slippers on, so she did purchase the item and she left, but she really did just wear a bra, and she had pants on and bunny slippers. So I have had some odd things go on with Craigslist. So.
Alrighty, so now we've got through all that. I think it's time to see our guest. All right, so let me make sure that he's all working, get him rocking and rolling. All right, well, oh, there he is. There's our guest, Bobby.
Hi, Bobby.
You hear me? Hello.
All right, I don't. Okay, when I put you on the big screen, I don't see.
Am I muted or am I?
No, we can hear you.
We hear you. Ah,
hello,
there we go.
Hello.
Yep, you're on.
Nice.
Not a big screen.
A pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming on.
I'm excited. Yeah, we're going to go over a lot today. I just want to say at the top that this is not going to, you're not going to be experts at the end of this, but for those of you who don't know anything about vinyl, you're going to have a good tool to work with. You're going to realize that you have to specialize just like we do with eBay and different things until you get the hang of it, and then you can branch out. And then for those of you heads that collect and such as well, I hopefully will bestow a little bit of additional knowledge to you today. So tonight.
So before we get into even asking any questions, Bobby, I got to show you a picture I took today, and you will fully appreciate this picture, as will anyone. Hey, shut up, dogs. As will anyone who has ever dug through records. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
So while I was waiting for my trade and while I was digging through my records, this is what I came across.
Oh dear God. Yeah.
There we go. Anyone who has ever picked through the vinyl section, you will always see plumber's crack from.
Oh, that's horrible.
Yeah. And I thought you were going to show me a huge paper cut too, because that happens. But yeah, the crack is.
So that's a good tip there.
Yeah, it's keep your pants up, people, when you're digging vinyl.
Exactly.
All right,
Awesome.
so we're going to ask you some questions first, Bobby, like a typical interview. But you sent me so many links that we're going to get right into it sooner than later. So, in your personal collection that you're not selling, how big is it approximately, vinyl?
Oh wow! So vinyl is about 500 pieces, but 78 RPM, which are records, but they're not made of vinyl.
What are they made of?
That's a good question. That I don't even know. I know you can melt it down to be like a varnish, so I assume it's something kind of like that. But they shatter when you drop them.
Wow! So it's almost like a ceramic piece would be.
Yeah, kind of. Yep. And it's like almost like if you had like a resin or a Bakelite, I guess.
Okay, so that's
It's not Bakelite, but
I know nothing about that. That's amazing.
Yeah, and then when it went to vinyl, then you had the unbreakable records and such, where you could flex them if you dropped them. But the old ones,
they're not really unbreakable, are they?
Right. Yeah. Well, it's like that whole indestructible, and people go and run it over with their car, like. In regular use, it's indestructible.
Right.
But for 78s, I'm rocking probably around 1,500 pieces. Yeah, so again, I don't have the biggest collection ever, but I've been doing this for, as I was telling them before the show, about 20 years, a little over 20 years now.
Wow.
So, yeah.
You have some questions for him, Nay?
Actually, I do. What is your best genre? What is a genre that sells best for you?
Okay. Yeah. So you're gonna have your top ones that are just gonna be. They'll sell well for anybody. Certain types of metal, certain types of classics like Beatles, Rolling Stones. All blues, like early blues and rock.
So anything early blues. So.
Anything early blues. If you have blues from the 50s and before.
Okay, so it's 50s and before.
Yeah, rock, early rock, like 50s and such.
Okay.
Then you go into condition and different things and artists. But yeah, early blues, and then then you got your contemporary stuff as it goes into imports and collectible types like limited releases. Those have always sold well. The record store day pieces, as well as there's certain companies that represent artists or labels, and they'll put out limited releases that are.
Okay, so obviously the more obscure, the better the sales.
Yeah, but not pressed in your basement. It's got to be some notoriety. Well, yeah, obscure. You'll be surprised how much weird shit sells for a lot of money. Just like you would be like, I never would have picked that up, and you would never listen to it. Kind of like what's that classic Exotica record you were talking about? It's not the greatest version of Exotica, but it's the need to have by every tiki collector.
Yeah, so the one is Tiki Gardens. Tiki Gardens is a walk-through tiki place, or was a walk-through tiki place near Tampa. Yeah. And the album, the music is horrible compared to what you'd want to play in your tiki bar, but it's such a must-have piece. It always sells for like $250, and I've never I never found one. For my friends have found them, but and I've talked to them. They're like, "Oh yeah, the music's terrible. Like we never play it, but you display it when you're having a party. That's for sure."
Exactly.
Shit, that made me. Oh, I'm glad I said shit. So Bobby asked me if he could swear when we were getting ready for the show, and not that he said I want to swear gratuitously. I'm like, Bobby, have you ever seen me anywhere? Like. Yeah.
Well, and he was like J&A, Thrifty with the boy. I was like, all right, like I didn't know if it was what my parameters were.
Oh hell yeah, you can say whatever you want.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, we're good. We're not censored here.
E-rated either, that's for sure. And we got some questions rolling in, and those of you in the chat, I think most of your questions will be answered by the end. Like we just asked, does color vinyl sell well? Like we're going to go through all that, so let's jump right in. Do you have any other questions?
Somebody said shellac. Is that actually what they're made of? The 78s?
Yeah, shellac. It's like a shellac because you'll see. I'll talk about how it's selling in lots. Like you could sell your junk, kind of like you were consigning or doing trade-ins on your vinyl. You could sell old 78s in lots on eBay right now. And they'll use them for craft projects, or they'll melt them down and make a varnish. Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. So I'm not the biggest advocate of that, and I'll get into that, but yeah.
Any other preliminary questions you had, Nate, or should we jump into all his goodies?
Well, I do have a couple other questions.
Yeah, hit it. Get it.
Okay, my one question has to do with shipping. How do you ship them so that they don't crack or break? Because I know that they are fragile, especially those 78s that you're talking about. So what's your shipping method for those?
So I would definitely do a plastic sleeve or fold over plastic. I usually will cut a piece of cardboard and attach it on at the corners, so it's not floating around. It's attached to something that has a little margin around it.
Right.
Jason does a great job. I've bought 2 records from him. But they have pre-made boxes you can buy. Honestly, that's one of the easiest types of boxes to fabricate.
Where do you purchase those boxes?
eBay.
I've never got one.
Okay.
Here they are.
Are they called LP boxes or?
Yep, LP mailers.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go. I have reused the ones I've gotten from making purchases, and then I just fabricate them, which is one of the tips I was going to give around fabrication. I am Irish. We don't like to spend unnecessary money.
I'm Irish too. Yeah.
So I get tape, bubble wrap, everything else I find or fabricate if at all possible. So I have never actually bought one of those. So that's a fun little thing that you can do this and not necessarily utilize all the services that are available. So I'm sure I will get to that point where I'm like, damn, I could use that box.
Do you ever have to clean the records?
Right. So yes, and in fact, I'm glad you brought that up. We got 2 different types you can use here. This, for you folks who go a little farther back and know, this is a velvet, like a brush that when you're playing, you pull behind and it pulls all the dust and particulates off the record. That's one way. I know people who have dishwashed 78s. Please, for the love of God, don't do that.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like a good idea. I would think they would melt.
Yeah, well, it doesn't, on 78s they won't melt, but it ruins the label, everything. Like, just don't do it. So you can use, I've heard Windex, I've heard to restore it, you could use wood glue. There's a lot of old wives' tales as far as how to clean records. I would just use like water on vinyl, like a water or a spray, but do it on the rag. Don't just hold it over the record. Like, do it on the rag, wipe that. This is a fun little attachment as well from, see if I'll put a paper up behind it. This little guy would actually attach to your stylus on the old 78 RPM players, the old Victrolas and such.
Okay.
And that just hooked onto that, and that would clean particulates off in the back.
So just as it spins, it would clean it?
Yeah, as you're playing it. So
that's pretty cool.
When you get into condition, if it's just particulates and you can wipe it off, great. If it's more than that,
what do you mean by particulates? Just
some dust,
like dirt and dust.
Yeah, if you had like stuff stuck onto it where you actually have to put in some elbow grease, you shouldn't be selling that record.
Okay, so is there anything that you can do about scratches or warping? I assume heat is what warps the records.
Yeah, warping, done deal. I mean, you can, I guess, try and counter that for your own personal use, but if it's warped, throw it away.
Okay.
That's the smash and
And
dash.
what about scratches? Is there a limit that you'll buy for?
Yeah, so scratching, you get into a grading of like what kind of is allowed. There are light scratches that you can still play the record and won't skip. Sometimes the grooves are skipped enough where you hear about you're like a broken record. What happens is when it hits that deeper scratch and you're like, hey, how are you today? Hey, how are you?
That's when it repeats, right?
Hey.
So can you look at a record and tell if there's a deep enough scratch that it's going to do that, or if the scratches are just kind of,
It'll look like somebody played frisbee with it or took a nail to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you buy lightly scratched records?
Lightly scratched, yeah. If it looks like there's a hair on it or something.
Yeah.
And on that, and again, it depends on the track or the label. I'm sorry, the record itself, which if it's more desirable and such, and just you can't find it in any condition, I'm gonna take it. And we'll get into some too where you might just buy a jacket. I know
Jason just bought some jackets.
Yeah, you were referencing that. Sometimes that can be in your favor. Sometimes you hold on to them, and I'll talk a little bit about that as well.
So going back to the wood glue thing, when you're done watching us live, go to YouTube and watch cleaning a record with wood glue. Bobby wasn't kidding. I've watched that. I've never tried it, but I've watched it.
Yeah. That's crazy. It sounds crazy anyway to me. I mean, I don't know much about records, but it sounds.
Yeah, again, it's like try it on a dummy record first.
Oh yeah.
I don't advocate it, but there are remedies galore out there.
It sounds like it might be counterproductive, actually. But.
All right, so here's what we're going to do. We are going to put on just the share screen of all Bobby's. He's going to show some of his scores from this past couple of weeks, his duds, and then we'll go into record stuff. So for the next probably 20 minutes, you're just going to see the sharing screen, and Bobby will talk, and he's going to teach us everything you want to know about records. And those of you who are afraid, you won't be afraid anymore. But I know Bobby's around. I'm always around. Bobby's got a little more knowledge than I do, but I've been buying and selling records for 100 years, so I can always help you. What are you holding there, buddy?
Real quick, just in a homage to the great Huggy Bear himself. This is my tiki mug for today. This is made by Grass Tiki, a newer thing they made, I think, 96. I have number 45 out of that. And in regard to your head hunter, I've got the shrunken head there.
Nice.
So,
Grass Tiki, where?
They're in Jersey, I think.
Okay.
Oh, I grew up in Jersey.
Yeah. We, my wife and I, just moved here from New York. So yeah.
Okay. I grew up in New Jersey, so.
No, very good. Very good.
All right, so here we go. We're going to go right into Bobby's score of the week, and as you can see, I just got an offer on a Playtex 18-hour bra. Oh, nice. All right, cool.
Nice. So the Tokidoki stuff, a lot of you probably know it more with Hello Kitty. They do a lot of collaborations. In fact, in that list, I put the Hello Kitty because they do so many collaborations. I thought Tokidoki was Hello Kitty, but no. But they do. You could put that in there. It wouldn't be keyword spamming because they are synonymous. So this is the Le Sport sack is a lot of purses and such.
Yep,
with these
I sell a Sport sack. Yes.
Yeah, and those sell for a lot of money. The little tchotchkes, there's that's a keychain, but there's also zipper pulls and such. I paid 50 cents for that in an estate sale. I bought an entire Rubbermaid tub of toys that was either 50 cents each or buy the whole tub for $100. There was over 300 toys in there, so they were all these type of goodies, so I just bought the whole tub. So 50 cents, flipped it for $30. Yeah, good deal and a good brand to keep an eye out on. So.
And I gotta say, Bobby, for a small item, that's a great picture.
Mm-hmm.
Well
yeah,
done,
that is
sir.
a good picture.
And a tip for that is what I do is I use natural light just through the.
I do too. Yes.
Facing me right now is
Yep.
the window I use it through. I just do it on the kitchen table. With that, I take a piece of printer paper and I just let it bend it. I don't fold it, but bend it. It's almost like you would have a hanging curtain in a photo studio, and then I just set it on there so you don't get any shadows or anything.
Awesome. I use
Yeah.
natural light too. I have limited space, so I don't have space for a whole lighting setup. So I just use natural light. I have great lighting upstairs, and I just use like a white poster board background from the dollar store, and it works.
And then make sure if you're using your camera like a point and shoot or something that you use the macro function for those close-ups.
Exactly.
That macro will get all your fine detail. If you just use a standard one, even with the autofocus and everything, you lose the detail. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So here's something near and dear to my heart. I am a huge Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fan, and I like all the incarnations of it, especially when Vanilla Ice was in it, because I'm a big Vanilla Ice fan.
Yeah.
Go Ninja, go Ninja, go Ninja, go Ninja, go, 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 go. And I can do the dance too, but we'll see.
I bet you can. I bet
He's a Spice Girls fan too.
There you go. So the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle TV trays, if you look online right now, there are several on there. Most of them are rusted on the bottom, basically because if you look at the locations, they're in a lot of areas of high humidity, or they were stored in the garage or outside, who knows, and people are bringing them out, the nostalgia. Basically, all of us who are kids of baby boomers have inherited the nostalgia of the baby boomer generation, so it's carrying on. That's a great plus for us resellers, because you can capitalize not only on the baby boomers, but now on your peers. So yeah, those were $10 each at a Goodwill, and in a town south of Denver. I typically wouldn't spend that much on those, but because of what they are, and as you saw, I spent $20 total. My rule is 3 times my money, so I got that and then some. And because I did free shipping, I built that into the price. So they were typically going for $50 a pair. I got $70, and it only cost me $15 to ship it. So with full insurance, because those can, with those, the tin is really malleable. So in case they got folded up by the by the Postal Service. So anyway, that's that.
All right, so that was more scores here.
Yeah, we'll go through this real quick. Cafe Bazaar. This could be a good segue into the record stuff if we want to jump ahead. So the Cafe Bazaar is on the same level as CBGB's, if you're familiar with that, club in New York.
New York,
well
that closed. Yep.
Yeah, Studio 54. It is very much a historical figure. That's where Andy Warhol discovered the Velvets, who later became the Velvet Underground, and Nico. So I found those at an antique store for $5 each. There were 2 of them. So do not be turned off by antique stores. There's always somebody who's got tchotchkes or little things that are just trying to push. It's not all full priced, full retail value. But if you click at the second picture, I think it is, shows the inside. No, I'm sorry, the 4th picture there. This had all the original inserts. If you look at that, there is 5 little inserts stapled in, and they're the highlights of the drinks, the drink menu. So like Tiki, they didn't necessarily serve them in special glasses, but they had these cool, the Volcano, the Abominable Snowman, and this was a beatnik bar, so if you read through on the back and such, there's all these like ads for like a 5-bedroom apartment on Broadway, 3 bathrooms and everything, only $100 a month, and you're like, whoa, really? And then you zoom in and it says in like Timbuktu, Africa or something. So there's all these like funny little deals in there, and because of those inserts is why the price of $150. There is a pre-sold on there with no inserts where somebody had pulled all the inserts out, and that went for $60. But yeah, I was aware of the Cafe Bazaar as a result of a record that I think I have the link in there for. Should be the next, yeah, Cafe Bazaar. So that record here, if we pull that up, is a high dollar record and very rare, and it's beatnik music, again tying into the same era. So
can you define beatnik for anyone who doesn't know?
Yeah, beatnik is it's like the hipsters of today, but in the
You're right.
They're very much the curly mustache, the pseudo intellectuals. Some were intellectuals and such, but smoking pipes and wearing berets and spoken word and the snapping to
That's a great explanation.
Yeah, so they were the hipsters of the 50s and 60s.
Okay, thank you.
All right. And like with all of our guests, just not Nay and I have duds. Our guests have duds. So here's some Bobby duds.
Yeah. So these are Lefton asparagus salt and pepper shakers. I thought they were going to be a home run, especially in the Midwest. There's a lot of the shabby chic and like country kitchen type decor that's really popular. These had some flea bites in the top. Turns out Lefton made them originally, and then the molds got sold. These also have plastic stoppers in the bottom instead of cork, which is kind of more desirable with salt and pepper shakers. Basically, there was a lot of I knew of it and knew it was good, but I got the wrong version. So yeah, I've relisted these probably 4 times now.
I can't sell vintage salt and pepper shakers for anything. I've had 2 Owl ones that they have the cork stoppers and everything in my store for like 2 years, and they just won't sell.
I have sold them before, but these were definitely duds. So they're up right now, but I think I'm just gonna donate them after it ends. So.
That's probably a good idea. Yeah.
Oh, Josh Groban, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I will say, I don't like his music, but as a person, he's funny. He's really funny.
He is talented, though.
I enjoy watching him, but yeah, I got no love for this music.
But you have to admit he's got talent.
I am not a Midwestern mom. No offense, Midwestern mom.
Well, I'm not a fan either, but he's got talent.
So this was along the lines of one of your past shows talking about when the train has left the station with your 15 minutes of fame. He still has a lot of notoriety, but not across the board. Now it's like he has a fan base, they are fans, but it's not the fever that was around, about 5-6 years ago. So yeah, this one is, again, I've listed a lot. I'm not really, it's not worth it to me to sell a shirt for less than that. So again, if this one doesn't sell, it's being redonated.
All right, so I don't know what this link is. I don't know how it works in, but I can't wait to hear.
This is my shipping tip. Bicycles.
Oh, that's right.
A lot of people will not ship bicycles because if you go and try and ship it, and this was me in the past, through UPS or FedEx, it is a minimum of like $100 to ship a bicycle. And then you got to take it apart and everything. I do bicycles. That's kind of my thing as a hobby, and then as a designer, I do about 10 custom bikes a year. So it is pertinent for me to be able to ship cost effectively. I've sold a lot of cool limited edition bikes as well on eBay, from hard to find BMX to old Schwinn Manta Ray, which a lot of people are familiar with the Stingray. The Manta Ray was jokingly named the fat kid bike because it was designed for taller kids or for adults. But because it was labeled the fat kid bike because it had a broader banana seat and such, they only made them 2 years, quit it. That brought a lot of money. This spot, they use FedEx shipping, but because they do bulk and everything, they get a lot of discounts. So as you can see there, it starts at $40.99. The most I've spent is $70 to ship a bike. And that was a heavy all-steel bike, fenders, the whole works. So that's a tip if you want to get into that, or you do currently and you need something more effective. Yeah.
So now that we've seen that, I'm going to take off the screen share for a sec. It's truth time. So I was a fat kid who learned on a bike with a banana seat, and I was slow to learn. I couldn't ride a bike till I was 11.
Oh wow! Right.
and it was banana seat. So when you're telling me this, I'm like sniff. Like, oh, I was a dumb little fat kid. Well, I wasn't little. I was a dumb big fat kid who couldn't ride a bike.
I'm not going to say anything about this topic.
Yeah. So we'll have to talk that some other time. I can tell you the colors and models to look for. because they made different colors and such, and some are more desirable with others, as with any collectible. So, all right. So we'll get in. While we're on
Josh Groban
this
was founded by Oprah, somebody said. Is that
what
true?
was?
I don't think "founded" was a proper word. Maybe "found by," but
Okay,
not "founded."
found.
I don't think
Interesting.
Oprah invented Josh Groban.
No, I don't think so. But maybe he was on her show first, and that's how he got his popularity. But
Yeah. So I started collecting, like I said, at age 10. So, well, I'm 32 now, so just over 20 years. Or 33. I just had a birthday, actually. So
I know you forget when you're in your 30s.
Yeah,
don't you?
I
know.
So
I do too.
I heard Louis Armstrong's "What a Wonderful World," which many have, and it is one of the more played out jazz classics. But I heard that at the age of 7 on the way to a little event with my family on the weekend. I fell in love with jazz and with the trumpet, and I started playing trumpet 3 years later at the age of 10, and then I also realized I could collect the original recordings. So I started collecting records, specifically 78 RPM records at that time. So we go here to grading. As we get into this, this is the standard grading chart on eBay. So if you're trying to sell this is going to be a good guide that purchasers on eBay are going to be expecting you to be within these parameters. They can get more stringent or be a little more lax depending on the avenue that you're purchasing or selling through. But this is a good guide. So I included this link. I'll run through it real quick so you don't have to read through that whole thing. You've got mint, near mint, very good plus plus, very good plus, very good minus, and good. So yeah, mint is going to be pretty much sealed and from the factory, absolutely pristine. The corners aren't bent, anything. It's like literally came out of the machine. That's going to be your mint. Almost nothing is like that, and as you'll see, eBay references, almost nobody gives that grade because it's nigh on impossible. So most people are going to follow near mint, even on an absolutely pristine record. Your very good plus plus is going to be maybe have the cellophane still on it. You'll have the original sleeve and the cover. The binding is still going to be intact on the seam, and the cellophane might even be on the outside still. You're going to have all the inserts if there's inserts. It's going to be pretty much the near mint classification, but opened. Your very good plus is going to be a nice record, but there may be some storage wear. You might see the record ring. Some people would say that would disqualify it and put it into more very good. Then as you go down to very good is going to be the vinyl is clean, playable, and there's no massive damage. You can see the graphic and everything on the cover, on the sleeve itself. But very good minus, you're probably going to have some damage on the cover itself, but the record is clean and playable. Good is going to be you've got the copy of it. You can play it, but you probably have some scratching. The spine on the sleeve is probably blown out, but
what do you mean by the spine blown out?
Let me just show you a picture real quick.
Hang on, Hang on, Bobby.
You got one?
All right, there you go. Now you're on.
Oh, okay. So I know I'm down in the little guy. Yeah.
No,
so
you're big. You're big.
Oh, I am big. Okay, I can't see myself. All right. Yeah. Anyway, the spine is right there, and that would be torn. So you wouldn't be able to read any of this. It would look kind of like the opening.
So if it's blown out, it's just you can't read the spine at all. It's completely.
Or it's split. There, you can have a good record. It's totally playable. The graphic is intact and good looking. But the spine is broken. If the spine's broken, you're going to go instantly down to good, in my opinion. Some people would give it a very good minus, but I'm just going to say good. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Bobby, what record label is that example on that you just showed?
Oh, yeah, this is Dead on Arrival, some War on 45. There's a little punk on there. This is about a $30 album. Right there.
What label is it?
Oh, who's the label? That is with Alternative Tentacles.
All right, so I bought one record today. How weird is this? Alternative Tentacles.
Hey!
One record today is all I bought.
My record. The man, the myth, the legend.
False Prophet.
False Prophet. Nice. Very good.
Yeah, this is like a $35 record. I picked it up for $8. So, but
Yeah.
how funny your example is Alternative Tentacles, and that's the one record I bought today.
And this would be like a very good, because the corners are a little notchy. It is in great condition. Some people will probably give this a very good plus. I got this in a lot off of a street vendor, and they were all original releases, absolutely pristine, and I got them all for $1 each. So, yeah, 35 records, I think. Yeah, cool. All right, so that's grading. So record speeds. Jason, do you know all the different speeds and size of records?
Well, I thought I did until I saw one of your examples, and then I was like, well, I guess I don't know as much as I thought I knew.
Right. Okay. So we start out with a cylinder, and we'll leave that on the screen, but I'll describe that in a second. You've got cylinder records, which would go on that player that's Jason has up there. Then we have and those spin at 160 RPM. So those are screaming.
No shit.
Yeah, 160 revolutions per minute is what RPM stands for. Then you go to 78 RPM record, and a 78 it looks like this, and they are a 10-inch record. They do come in 12-inch as well.
Wait! You're blowing my mind. I never knew 78s came in 12-inch.
Yeah, 78s mostly.
Maybe I didn't know they came in 10-inch. One of the two I didn't know. I didn't realize there was different sizes.
Yeah, classical, and they're mainly for really length, so that extra 2 inches gives you more time on the record,
right.
But it would still be played at 78 RPM. So those are predominantly classical. You'll get like Irving Berlin, who's not classical but did jazz and such, but had lengthier compositions. Those are going to be on your 12-inch 78s. All right, then we have 45 records. 45s spin at 45 revolutions per second. This is a large hole 45. There's small hole as well, so you don't need the insert. I didn't grab an insert to show an example, but there's a little plastic disc that'll pop in here, or some record players have a little disc that slides over the nipple, so to speak, and you can just put it on there to play it. So that's 45. Then we've got 33 1/3. 33 1/3 is your long play, just your regular vinyl speed. Classic, what most people think of. And then 16-inch record. Are you familiar with those?
I am not, and that's what one of your examples we're going to get to.
Whoa.
I've never seen 16-inch.
Wow.
Yeah. So a 16-inch is mainly for those play slow as hell, obviously. Those were designed for length of a recording, and they're mainly for spoken things, so speeches, language discs. Where I have seen, I think I have a link. It's a Miles Davis record that was on a 16-inch, but it was a long-ass song. So those are for length. It's trying to play as much content as possible, but yeah. So those are very far and few between, and we're going to segue in a second of one of those, and with these cylinder rolls, where the actual player is worth more than any of the actual mediums that they're recorded on, record or roll. So
I want to give a heads up real quick. We normally keep our show tight at an hour. We are at an hour. Bobby has so much good stuff to share. Wow. I implore you to stay with it. I've seen other shows that just ramble on for hours that you're like, whatever. But there's so much good content coming up. I say stay with it. You're going to learn a lot. Trust me on that. I saw all these links come by. I learned stuff by just putting the links up. So stick with us. It will probably be another at least half an hour. Plus, I have a whole collection here. I'm going to show.
I have something to say at the end. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
So hang in there. We got tons of cool shit.
Through this. What I just want to reference with this link here, if you don't have it up, the Edison cylinder phonograph record player. So that, as you can see, $1,300 for that. The cylinder rolls only go for a maximum of like $20. A lot of times you can buy them in lots. they're not really worth too much, and the ones that are worth a lot are kind of fucked up. They're like race cylinders. One that I sold a long time ago was the Preacher and the Coon, later changed to the Preacher and the Bear. So yeah, a lot of those that represent a more darker time in our history, involving race and the minstrel era. Those are kind of what are sought after for museums and collectibles, and for yeah. So anyway, that's a sense in like 16 RPM records. They're not really worth too much in and of themselves, but the players themselves are worth a lot. So we can skip through that in the lathe. Then I think there was 2 links after that.
So skip this one.
Yeah, skip that one. That was just
other than it sold for $13,000.
So that's one of the cylinder rolls, the Edison cylinder record players. Yep. We've got the lathe here. That's actually to cut the masters for the 16-inch RPM records. So that's to make a record. And I've owned one for a 33 1/3, a home recording player before, and I sold that for $300. But as you saw, this one went for $18. That's a professional quality one, so we can skip that. The last size is V-discs. Just as a reference, you can look this up on Wikipedia as a link, but you could close out that link. Victory discs were for World War II, and here's a lot of those being sold. They're not worth a lot. Again, it's more the player itself or the player and the discs together. The discs could be as big as 16 inches, so 4 more inches than a long play record. They required a special player as a result. Some of them were 12-inch and standard, and you could play them, but they were the USO music. So they were like Glenn Miller's recordings and everything for the troops and all that stuff. So these records were sent out to the troops in the field, and then these players, these V-disc record players, were played over the loudspeaker so everyone in camp could listen to it. So that's a cool thing. I've seen a player and the discs once in my life. A good friend of mine who also collects, his grandfather had one from World War II in the basement. So they are a sight to see. They are very rare. Yep, that's that.
I don't think I've ever seen those, Bobby.
Yeah, so they come in, those look like the 12-inch, but they come in 16-inch as well. The ones I saw were 16-inch. Here, just to fast forward, these are classic. The Technics SL 1200s. 1200s came in series of generations in the 70s up through, but these players, the 1200s, are big in the DJ community. They're like legendary. This is a brand new like generation of it, the MK5s. As you saw, that sold for almost $6,000, just the player. So that's another thing to be on the lookout for. The 1200s, any generation of the 1200s, you're going to make money on. That's that.
And this is, somebody might be seeing this right now, Bobby, and going, "Oh my God, $6,000 for a turntable." That's actually cheap compared to some of those nutty high-end ones.
Exactly. And if you look, the stylus as well. The stylus is the little tip on the end where your needle is.
Right there.
Yeah, the stylus. Those can go as high as $500 to $600 for a stylus alone. And there's DJs that buy. They're called a dual magnet. And they're for balancing the groove so that you get the exact vibration and get the full sound of the recording. So those tips, if you come across just the tips for a record player at a pawn shop or in thrifting, they'll usually be in a little clear container or something. I would buy those all day, every day, because some people have vintage audio gear that they need the stylus for, and those just twist off and you can swap them out. Yep. Crazy. All right, so we're going to go on to ephemera real quick. I think I have some links for maybe on that one. Actually, I don't. I have those all physical here. I'll burn through those here. Some of the stuff that, as a result of records, and not just going into sheet music and stuff, though I have a couple of those pieces that are directly from an actual record recording. But a lot of the ephemera, which is just paper or disposable goods, things that they didn't expect to be around very long. It was just a blast, like flyers or something. So one of my prized possessions here, I started out as a jazz head before I got into hip hop, and those are my two kind of niches that I focus on. Glenn Miller and Louis Armstrong were my pillars in that, and then I broadened my range from there. This right here, if you can see on the camera, is the Glenn Miller Orchestra with Tex Beneke. So after Glenn Miller disappeared over the English Channel, as it is supposed to be, Tex Beneke was a lead singer of the band. He took over the orchestra and then toured. So this is right after Glenn Miller's disappearance. And this is the rider. This is the promo packet that they would send ahead. So it has his headshot, a couple of them in there. These are original photographs, promo photos. And then this has the billing sheet and the seating arrangement, if I can get it, how when they would go to a venue, basically every aspect of how to set up the stage before they got there. So when they came through, all they had to do was set up the kits and sit down and start playing. So
did they say to take the brown M&Ms out, or was that just Van Halen?
Yeah, right. Yeah, and to beware of the black acid.
Please pay attention, the black acid is not good.
That's the seating chart there, and that's how they would have them set it up for the orchestra. So so that's a cool piece, and out of my record collecting, one of my highlights. So there's that. Then we have, let me just burn through, we're going to keep this short and sweet. As Jason was pointing out with the music books before, here's some as well, Beatles stuff that disappeared even faster than records, is sheet music. This is Yesterday and Something, Beatles Abbey Road with the Abbey Road illustration on the back. So that's original sheet music from the albums that are worth quite a bit. Here's what I was talking about with the Edison records, and this translated into a lot, that minstrel era. People have called it Black Americana or darky collectibles. There's a lot of fucked up terms. Honestly, all of them are terrible. There are people who collect it for as a remembrance, and as there's the Black History Museum is a traveling, almost like the bookmobile. They travel around and they have a lot of that stuff just as awareness and historical remembrance. Some people just collect that niche of items, whether that be salt and pepper shakers to records to sheet music. So anyway, that's kind of a touch on that. All right, let's speed this along. Last thing with the that would be Michael Jackson. That's a tour tour piece there. Again, from the Bad Tour, and yeah, you would just buy that at the concert. The guys that are in the hallway, like, get a program for $5 or whatever. Now they're worth like 40 to 100, depending on what you get. Sweet. This bad boy, getting into records now, and this would be considered ephemera and records because these were not meant to last. This is an advertisement for Chevrolet. So they mailed these out. This is this guy's address with a Chevy on the back there. And be sure to play this record today. So you got this in the mail. You played the little record. And we won't go to the link, but you can look this up. Advance Information, The Great American Value for 1932. So in 1932, obviously we're in a depression and shit's bad or going into it. Like everybody's trying to save money. They're telling you just how cheap a Chevrolet is. I think they were going for $530 at the time. So there's that. Meanwhile, in 1932, while we're trying to sell Chevys, this was happening. And this is probably backwards in the camera, but the bottom says Benito Mussolini, Discorso del 23rd of October, 1932. These are speeches, propaganda speeches by Mussolini.
Oh my goodness.
On 45.
Oh my goodness, it's crazy.
That were dispersed across Italy and into Europe.
So the question is, does it have a funky beat and can I dance to it?
All right. No, this is one of the crazier pieces I have. Some people get tripped out by this stuff. The stuff that weirds me out really bad as a reseller, and I only have sold one item and never touched it again, Nazi and especially SS stuff, I literally get a physical reaction to it, so I stay away from that. This, for some reason, has not had that effect on me. This was a cool find from a guy who had a shop in Times Square selling musical sheet music and accompany sheet music.
That's what I was going to ask you. Where do you find all this stuff?
Yeah, so he had a whole basement that was his personal collection, like thousands and thousands, like hundreds of thousands of records. If you got to know him, this guy Mike, he would let you go dig in his collection. So it wasn't open, it wasn't part of the shop. Okay. If you befriended Mike, which I was fortunate enough to, you got to go digging. So I found a lot of cool shit there. That shop is closed down since we left New York. But I said, what's the weirdest shit you have in here? I want the absolute weirdest thing. He brought this out, and I bought it. So it's a 4-piece set, and those are some propaganda speeches by Mussolini. So
you found a lot of your stuff in New York?
Some here as well. I'm actually from Colorado originally, but we lived several years in New York, and then have made it full circle, ironically. So, yeah. All right. Okay, Records.
I got a quick question for you, though, and I know the answer, but have you seen the documentary Scratch?
I have not, and everybody asked me
what?
that.
Wait a minute. That was not the answer I expected. All right.
I've seen Copyright Criminals, which is in the same vein. But that was more on the business of it. But
yeah, so Scratch is great. It's all about DJs who hunt for records to find those beats. And what's amazing, and this is what you would love, like I loved it, one of the big DJs, and it was Shadow or one of them, he was in some New York City record store, and I forget which one it was, but because he became friends with the owner let him go in the basement. And the basement was like a hoarder of records. And when he dug through the stacks, he found a squished bat between two of the records.
Oh.
That was petrified. But if you're not a record digger, you wouldn't understand how just awesome and crazy and weird that is.
There's so much crazy stuff. One reference to the watchers, if you want to look at cool collections and get more knowledge around specific genres, specifically in hip hop for this particular outlet would be Crate Diggers on YouTube. If you just YouTube Crate Diggers, they feature all internationally just amazing DJs and their collections, and they go through their highlights, so you can find some really rare stuff that you might come across depending on your where you're at in the country, that you would never even know. And so anyway, that's a good resource. Speaking of scratching.
All right, Bobby, we're gonna run through all your links here, so let's hit them hard.
Click them, go. Okay, so these are just examples of 78 RPM records that can go for really high. These are blues and early jazz. That was a Louis Armstrong record there you saw. Like I said, blues on 78, buy it. Absolutely. Anything that says blues. Boogie Woogie is another sought-after style. So if you see old 78s and anywhere it says Boogie Woogie, definitely get that. One thing to be aware of is the Dixieland Jazz Band, or Dixieland in that era, as is hip-hop now with what they call white appropriation from a music that came out of Black and Latino culture. And now, you look at the, you have a lot of artists that don't know the pain and struggle that music came out of, but benefit from it now. Caucasian artists, and I say that as a Caucasian American male. It was the same back when jazz came onto the scene. It had a lot of its influences were Caribbean, African, and South American. That's how jazz was formed. And then there was all these groups that were like, hey, we can make money on it. So Dixieland jazz was like the white guy's version of jazz. So that's one that's not really collectible, but you'll see that a lot. So anyway, we could burn through that. I just want to give you an example of some 78s that go for really high money.
Oh,
here's
my God.
One, 4,500. This is an early blues record. And that, if you look at it, it is scratched absolutely to hell. It is like somebody just ice skated on it. So but because it is so rare, it is really valuable. And just to give you a heads up, here's a pack of vintage record needles that were played for those. That's an unopened pack, new old stock. Here is an example of it. It is like somebody cut the tip off of a nail. Sorry, I just dropped it, but it is really, really, really thick, and it would gouge out your records. So if you played your records too much on those, they recommended wood tip needles because the wood, though you'd burn through it faster and you'd have to throw it away, it wouldn't damage your record. So that's that. We can skip through these. These are just 78 examples.
$4,000.
Yeah, $4,000 for that.
That's crazy.
Oh, only 200.
Only 200.
Wow.
Yeah. That was a Boogie Woogie record. So again, that sells for more than most vinyl records, and that's a 78 RPM. So don't. I like to preserve them for historical preservation as well as I enjoy the music. There are some that are worth a lot. If you're trying to make money at it, your main things you're going to look for are early blues and old jazz, like as that became a genre. All right. What are we up next to link-wise? Let's go over Holy Grails real quick.
So can I point out something real quick on this one?
Yeah.
So a couple things. When I was a little kid, I spent every weekend at my grandparents' house. And when I was like 7, 8, 9 years old, I thought contemporary popular music was the Andrews Sisters and Al Jolson, because that's my grandparents listened to. And I noticed right away this sold for $77, but they spelled their name wrong. It's Andrews with an S.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. And so Andrews Sisters, all that, the big band era, there's a lot of money that can be made there on individual records. Yeah.
I could never understand why my buddies on the playground didn't know who Al Jolson was. I couldn't get it. I'm like, Don, don't you hear it on the radio? I was hearing it on my grandparents' 8-track.
7 Seconds is a punk group. I have some of their records here. All I wanted to do is show that this is their first pressing. It has an insert, and how much did that sell for?
$63.17.
Yeah, for that, and that's a 45. So that's just one song, or an A and B side. That's one of the little smaller records. And that went for $63, but it has the inserts. Without the inserts and even repress, they go for about $5. So that just shows like a difference of retaining the insert and the value built there. And
on alternative tentacles. We're back to alternative tentacles again.
Exactly. The next one we have is Black Star. Black Star is an amazing hip-hop album. Out of 5 albums that I recommend to anyone who is new to the genre of hip-hop, I came out of jazz, and so I didn't start in hip-hop. This is a must-have. Great record. The first release had a fold-out insert that was a poster of that album cover and some stickers. Every re-release after that or repressing of it doesn't have that. So if you find the original with the inserts, about $63, $64 there. If you don't have it, it's a standard like $10 to $20 CD. So, all right, this is one that I sold in the past. Not this sale exactly, but I've sold that record. This is pre-Ed Sullivan show. This is on VJ Records, but as the Ed Sullivan hype is happening and America's hearing about the Beatles, introducing the Beatles. So this went for $338. It's a 2/3 leaf. The part that's black there and says Beatles, that folds open, and then the part with their faces there on the margin there, the characterized faces, that's part of the back part of the album. So it's a 2/3 fold over. On the back of it, it had a perforated insert that said "Your picture here," basically, or no, it says Paul loves, and then you put your picture under it. John loves so-and-so under it. There's an all blank one on the back that's not worth as much, but if you look at, there you go, that's the picture there. With this back cover, that's worth significantly more. It's only about a $100 album if it's blank on the back, but with those little perforated hearts where you put you and your 3 best friends picture, that's a hot tip. Then you have introducing the Beatles that most people know of, which is this next one, This is introducing the Beatles. That one before is the pre-Ed Sullivan Show. This is Ed Sullivan Show.
Nerds. So look at they're nerds. Holy cow.
So that's like a $200 album. If you go to the next link, that one has writing on the back. The next link is the blank back, and you'll see that's significantly more.
Whoa. Yeah.
650.
Wow.
For the blank back. So the jacket can dictate. Even if you only had the jacket, because the record is the same, but it's the jacket that is the desirable piece there. On that, because we're just burning through stuff, there's the Butcher cover for the Beatles yesterday, today, and tomorrow. That, as a lot of people know, was printed for 1 day. Actually, Sears only carried it 1 day. Then they recalled it because of the album. It was like cut-up baby dolls on the front. They recalled it. They pasted over a new cover and then sold it. So you can find some of those where people will steam off that sticker to get the original. Yeah. So that, if you have the original Butcher Block one, is about 10 to 12K if it's pristine. And then the all-time ultimate holy grail of Beatles records, without including autographs or anything, is Sgt. Pepper's Capitol Records Executive Faces album. So the Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band record had a bunch of celebrities and current people and political figures, their faces, and little collage of all their faces in the background. Well, there was only like a half dozen made where they put in the Capitol Record Executive Faces for a Christmas party giveaway. So Capitol Records had this Christmas party. They gave out these records. Those go for $100,000.
Oh my God!
What?
Yeah, I don't have a link to that. So so that's just the record sleeve being different. That's the
so
vinyl.
what has your highest sale been?
My highest sale for a record, is about $100. I haven't gone Holy Grail. Yeah.
Okay.
So Bobby, I don't know if you know, but I had a second state Butcher cover sealed.
Wow.
That I got at a estate sale for $8. I sold for like $3,300.
Yeah. See.
Wow.
That's what I'm saying. And there's a guy on the group Collectors Catacomb, which I think you were a guest on, Jason.
Yep.
There's a guy on there who's associated with them. He found one of those albums. He's actually one of the few people certified to identify one now because he's actually owned one. Yep.
I do want to go back to real quick, way back to the grading. What I've always, like I'm not a professional grader. I've been selling records for forever online. But if you go by the adage of under deliver. Under promise, over deliver. I had to think it out there. I've never had an unhappy customer ever by going that route. So if it's like VG Plus, and I'm like, I mark it as VG, and I always get that great feedback of way better than we expected. So
totally, exactly. So here's a Zeppelin album that is in orange. You'll see that sells for $20. Not a big
shitty
deal.
Title too. Holy crap.
Shitty title. Yeah, just self-titled. All right. Now, if you go to the next one, is the reel to reel. I sold this one actually, and here's an example of where the medium can change.
Can someone explain reel to me, please?
Oh yeah, reel to reel is like cassette tape. Here's a cassette tape, right?
Hang on, I'll pop you back in, Bobby.
Instead of being compact like a cassette, these reels are about 7 inches big, and then you would place them on the player instead of being self-contained like in a cassette tape. So the old tapes were like what he has pictured there, and you attach it onto the player itself.
Okay.
You'd have an empty reel, and you would feed it from the full reel. Yep.
Okay, so it's like a huge cassette tape without the encasing.
Yeah. Yeah. And then if you have, I don't know if he had the other link, but there is the first pressing of that album, not the reel to reel, but that album. It was in blue, like a teal lettering instead of the orange, and they miscredited some people on the back that weren't part of the project or were no longer part of the project. So that got recalled. That one goes for what, like $650, something like that?
Is it this one I have up right now?
Yeah, there you go.
$1,600? We're for sale for $1,600?
Yeah, yep. So that's a difference. See, you can see where the lettering is blue instead of orange in the corners. Same exact album, but the crediting was wrong on the back, so they recalled it and reprinted. So those are elements where it's the jacket that dictates the value as opposed to the recording or anything else. Great. Funny, funky shit. Okay, here you go. His covers. We can skip through this, but you want the one with all the faces filled in. There's another release that has, there you go, that has blank faces, and there's about a $50 price difference with that. That's Rolling Stone's Some Girls. Here is a early hip-hop record that is about $400 US. Or actually, no, $560. So I was going to do a hip-hop theme, but because we're kind of behind time, I will just touch on some other elements here. Is the Iron Maiden link on there? This album here.
Yep, this one?
Yeah, there we go. I have that record, and you'll see the price there.
Now, look at that. Look at that cover. For those of you who don't know Iron Maiden, this is Live After Death. It's live in Long Beach. Scream for me, Long Beach!
Yeah.
So why is that $555?
Hang on. My mom bought this for me for Christmas whatever year it came out, 84. And what mother back then would buy this for their kid? But I'm so glad. My mom rocks. Thanks, Mom.
So you have that record, Jason?
Oh, yeah. My wife loves it. Like, we listen to this all the time, and we can't wait to say, Scream for me, Long Beach!
Yeah.
But you could sell it for $550.
So here's the problem. He has the one that I have. Mine is mint, almost mint. Well, it's not mint. I'm going to say near mint. It doesn't have the cellophane, but there's no creasing. Everything is like it was unwrapped. It's brand new, Capitol Records, EMI. The one that you just saw is an import. So that's another thing when you're valuing records and what will be higher and lower. Imports are always worth more than domestic. So I have the domestic version, even though it's in pristine condition, is like $30 record. Jason has the domestic $30 record. That one is that much because it's an import. So like a Beatles collection, you could have every record that the Beatles made, every single 45, and sell the whole collection and get like $3,000 for it. But if you have like imports and special, you know, like those cover variations, the jacket variations and different things like that, then you're looking at $100,000 for your collection. So that's the little things that just because it says Beatles on it doesn't mean it's gold, and just because I have that exact record, it's not the recording itself or the album art, it's where it came from.
And you know, when you're leafing through vinyl, you can somewhat tell import because their cardboard is different.
Yeah.
The cardboard has a way different feel
as well.
Yep.
Not nearly worth as much as that.
But yeah, and once somebody points out the import cardboard to domestic, you'll get it. You can flip through fast, and you'll feel import cardboard immediately.
Yeah, absolutely. So
what's the difference in the feel?
It's a thickness and a gloss.
Yeah.
Okay.
So import's usually thinner with a higher gloss to it.
Yeah, it's almost like a sleeve instead of a jacket. All right, then we've got so Record Store Day I wanted to touch on because people, if you're trying to resell, Record Store Day is a great time to get records at a retail value and sell them at a premium. So
the fat boys are back.
Mine is unopened because I bought it for collectible. The inside is a picture disc that looks like a pizza. So it looks like a full pizza inside. Amazing, $80. Mine has the price tag. I got $27.99, but it was a closing out sale of a record store, so I got it for half price.
Wow.
And that's $80.
And I got one of those downstairs, Bobby.
Nice. MF Doom. MF Doom came from a group called KMD out of hip hop. Here's one of their recalled albums, Black Bastards, and a lot of the 80s hip hop and early 90s was talking about socially conscious and everything, and the struggle of African Americans in economical as well as social. So they had this. This is a very political album, and it got recalled, even though they are African American and the imagery or whatever was not cool for the label, so they recalled it. This is an original. This is only like $30 for this. They just released a new one with an insert that looks like a pop-up book, and that one goes for like $80. The MF Doom one that he just showed is what I have, is a tin. It looks like a film canister tin, It's Doomsday, which is his album, and it's a 6 record set instead of just on a CD. Embossed on it is MF Doom's mask. His character or persona wears the Doom mask from the comic books. Anyway, he came from KMD originally, and his brother, they were in this group. His brother died, and then he became MF Doom or Metal Fingers. So that, again, you want to hit up Record Store Day if you're a record person or if you're trying to flip them, because you get these rare one-off things, and then they go for pretty good money on the back end.
Hey, I want to show something real quick. Crap! It made me think of something.
The Coup. I love The Coup.
Oh yeah. So The Coup was a hip hop group that, unfortunately, this album came out during the week of 9/11.
Oh.
Yep.
And it showed the Twin Towers blowing up.
Oh.
Very odd, and it got pulled right away. So if you find it, and the name of the album is Party Music, it sells for a lot of money. And oddly enough, same thing happened
with a martini glass. I have the new album of it.
And then same thing happened with Dream Theater. So Dream Theater, not a rap band, but they had an album come out the exact same week called Live Scenes from New York, and it shows the Twin Towers and the Statue of Liberty in flames, and that got pulled and had to be sent back. I was working in a record store that day, and so, I wasn't thinking ahead. I should have held on to a few instead of sending them all back. But those are things, unfortunately, it's a tragedy, but those are the things that make things collectible. It's very odd that 2 albums came out that week with the Twin Towers exploding in flames, but that's what people look for. They look for those rare, hard to finds.
And it's purely coincidental because they are political, so it's talking about that. But you had Fight Club. They blew up the Twin Towers in that movie. There was a lot of stuff around that, and then it happened to happen. All right. So that record there is a sample record. Oh, this is one I wanted to touch on as well, is sometimes the actual recording. So that was a hip-hop album he was showing there, The Coup. Sometimes the record that's most valuable is what it was sampled from. The most iconic one that probably most people recognize is the California Love by Tupac, and that's sampled from Joe Cocker's Woman to Woman. There was a lot of people who sampled Joe Cocker's Woman to Woman. Dr. Dre and Tupac happened to blow up with that sample. Here is a sound effect record. This is Halloween, just weird sounds. Again, this is weird shit that you wouldn't know would be worth a lot, but if you find it, I grab all those Halloween sound effect records. They all go for at least $30, some as high as $100, and that one, as you saw, that's an original $150. Sesame Street, C is for Cookie. If you find that album, that is a valuable album. That's been sampled or is sought for sampling. So yeah, just a Sesame Street record. Here's one that's, again, on the import deal, and this is hip-hop, the movie Panther, and this was from the early 90s and talked about the Black Panther movement. I had to get this from Australia. This has one of the best posse tracks, posse being like a group of people, one of the most amazing posse tracks of everybody who was anybody in the mid-90s, and it's a track called The Points. Biggie, Busta Rhymes, Bone Thugs and Harmony, Big Mike, Redman, everybody's on this one track. Tupac wasn't on it because I think he was in jail at the time, but that's one where not only is it an import, but it's damn impossible to find in the U.S., so I had to reach out far for that one. Cool.
Hey, I'm going to pause you for a sec, and I'm going to pop me off here. I'm going to put me back on. People are asking in the chat about Record Store Day, so I want to touch on it real quick. I happen to have a couple things sitting handy, so I'll show you.
Sure.
So it used to be once a year, now it's twice a year, and I heard they're doing like once a month coming up.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So Record Store Day started in April, and it was to drive traffic to independent record stores. And what they did was a lot of the labels would release these limited edition, sometimes numbered vinyl on 7-inch, 10-inch, 12-inch records, singles, colored vinyl, picture vinyl, everything. Exactly. And then they added Black Friday also, so it drives people to the stores. A lot of it's collectible. I flip a lot. I do keep some, like that Fat Boys was part of that. And what you're going to see when you buy the Record Store Day stuff is See, it says recordstoreday.com, one-time only vinyl pressing. So this is the soundtrack to The Walking Dead on picture vinyl. So that's Rick holding his gun, and there's the back of it. And then when you get into some of the numbered things, they'll be on the back. Where's my number here?
Yeah.
So there is the number, 0809. So if you're a flipper like myself, but I'm also a collector, if you get in, get the cool stuff right away, and then get home and get it listed, you'll sell it for good profit because it's only a domestic thing. So international customers love it. And what do you got there, Bobby? You're holding one too.
This is Mr. Dibbs, who unfortunately has cancer as well right now, so he's fighting that. This is a 923 or 922 and 923 out of 1,000. So I got doubles on hip hop. I try and get doubles because DJs, that's what they're all about. That is a record store day, but before they started putting stickers on it and everything. And then a fun thing for me as a designer, because I do design on the side of eBay, I designed the labels for these record store day vinyls, and this is a local.
Yay!
So I designed that, and it was a record store day release. So that was a fun collaboration. Yeah. Cool.
That's awesome. All right, let's
and
pop
then this
back
one
over
from
here.
Jason. Grandmaster Flash, one from Jason, one from my buddy Jacob. Yep. So I got a doubles on that one too.
Yep, I got those.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
Let's get back to your. This is. I love this.
Yeah. So this is along the lines of weird shit that sells, and you wouldn't know. Leonard Nimoy. The two sides of Leonard Nimoy. He did one side is him singing songs as himself, and one side him singing songs as if he was Spock and about the planet Vulcan. So
that's interesting.
weird, obscure stuff. I've sold that album before Leonard Nimoy passed, and it was still worth that. Trekkies, they'll spend money. They love it. Here's one. This is Muhammad Ali and his gang versus Tooth Decay.
That's funny.
That's a fun one. I've got. It's weird. Yeah, it's Frank Sinatra does a bit on there. Yeah. The one that Jason has up there is Topo Gigio from the Ed Sullivan Show, the little mouse. Topo Gigio. And that's him doing Brazilian favorites. I've sold that record before as well. Again, just weird. You're like, what? It's a little puppet, and he had almost like a high little, hello, I'm Topo Gigio. And then he's just
pretty good.
Yeah, singing Brazilian favorites. Here's one of my collectibles as well. This is an Ed Sullivan ad while we're talking about Ed Sullivan. This is, if I can get it, America's Great Musicals for $169. That's a thing where the records that correspond with this ad are worth crap. They're not worth anything. But this is a storefront sign that is worth a lot with a little applique of Ed Sullivan. All right, that's that.
All right, so back to Topo, and I'll pop over to, what do we got here? E.T.
Somebody in the chat has a question about children's records.
Yeah, children's records.
Yeah, do you sell any children's records? And
I do, mainly older stuff.
And what is valuable? Lisa Thomas had a question.
I have Puff the Magic Dragon, which is fun for a lot of reasons, especially because I'm in Colorado. If you don't know, it's a weed reference. Peter, Paul, and Mary, I think, first did the famous recording of it, and then Disney had a cartoon of it, and it was Puff the Magic Dragon and Little Johnny Paper rolling. That's a kid's record that's worth some. These Little Wonder records, these are 78 RPM, little baby records from back in the day.
Little baby records.
Yeah, they're not worth too much. You want to get them in lots or get specific titles. So this one is the Ben-Hur Chariot Race March. So because of the Ben-Hur tie-in is the only reason why that's worth some money. Some of these, the cartoony stuff, this is cardboard, and then it would have had a plastic strip on it that had the recording on it. It's fallen off of this one. And this is, again, that kind of black exploitation stuff that is collectible, though kind of messed up. And that would have been, this is a kid's record, so like, yeah, it's kind of permeated our culture in a lot of ways. Then lastly, on the kids' records, you want the sleeves. On these old ones, the records themselves are, give or take, they're not going to be worth as much. In fact, this one's cracked. But the sleeve itself, because these just disappeared. Kids wrote on them, ripped them up, spilled water on them.
So the sleeve is actually worth more than the
The
record.
sleeve is worth more, and if you have the sleeve corresponding with the record, same with, you can get into the Comic-Con side of things as well later on in the 50s with not necessarily like Hopalong Cassidy, although there is like a culture for that, the radio programs, the Lone Ranger records. I have some with the sleeves. They're like a comic book sleeve. Those are ones you can sell at trade shows as opposed to online, and you're going to get more money.
All right,
cool.
So you have the Richard Pryor here.
Yep, I got the Richard Pryor. That is one that I do have as well here. Yeah, so that's like a National Geographic kind of spoof, and there you go. That's a comedy record, not necessarily music, but $25, and if you get it for $1 at a thrift store, that's cake. Shipping is going to be, you can ship those media mail, so yeah, it's like $3 maybe. I've sold this one before too. I got a lot more money. These are some that have like tapered off, or you want to find trade shows for people that are actually looking for these. This is one that was a Burger King giveaway. That's on a paper card, and then again has the little plastic. And it's Red Skelton, who, if you're not familiar, was a comedian from the 40s into the 60s, late maybe early 70s. He did a lot of pantomime and stand-up. And yeah, so that's him saying the Pledge of Allegiance. I got 50 for mine, but that's something where it's like, whoa, that's a cool thing, but it's not worth anything now.
They're Fat Boys. This, tell me about this.
Yeah, so these Italian funk, if you can find funk music from Italy, grab it. Anything funk from out of the country, I have some South American stuff. I wish I had Italian stuff because all of it is worth a lot. So hip-hop commercialized became, rap and breakdancing and all this. That was the commercial terms for it. To rap, spoken word, you have like Last Poets and such from the 60s and into the 70s. You've got the spoken word of the 50s and stuff in bebop and different things like that. That was called rapping. Spoken word was to rap. But in hip-hop, in its inception, you were an MC, master of ceremonies. So the guy on the mic, he was the party rocker. He was the master of ceremonies. So an MC was what it got later coined as a rapper, and then B-boys, the dance part of it, were turned into break dancers. So why they're called breaks or breaking is the DJ would take a sample of the break in the music when the words are done and it goes into the now break, and it would be like a drum solo. I have examples of the Funky Drummer, Amen Brother, some of the famous samples of those drums for hip-hop, like boom boom bop, boom boom bop, boom boom bop. They're sampled from all these like old funk and soul records. So James Brown is iconic, but those Italian funk records have insane breaks. So DJs want that like no other. So that Violence record has amazing drum breaks in there that DJs fiend for because they want to cut that to sample for production. So that's why that's so much.
And back in the day, for those of you who aren't into hip-hop like Bobby is and I was, and still am somewhat, but back in the day, it was the DJ first and the MC second.
Yeah, exactly.
And that ain't that way nowadays, but it was DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince. Mm-hmm. It was not the other way around. So the DJ was always the star of the show.
Exactly. So yeah, you've got...
I've sold this on CD, and it brings good money on CD.
Yep, and that is a repress. I have that sealed. Or no, that's the original. I'm sorry. I have the represses sealed. The original, that is Apache. If anyone's familiar with Apache by the Shadows, it was a UK group, and it was
which turned into Apache by.
Yeah, it's like it's kind of like surfer music, the original. It's very that twangy guitar and the so Apache. Then there was a cover on that album, The Incredible Bongo Band, that was all bongos and percussion, and that got sampled for tons of hip hop things. Grandmaster Flash did a version cut off of that. Yeah, so this is an instance of where the original music is more sought after for the samples. They don't even want the whole album. They just want some of the stuff off of it. So, Jimmy Castor Bunch, It's Just Begun. This is amazing. This is like a b-boy anthem right here. Just has a great opening horn. Oh
yeah.
Break takes off like this. If you played this in a crowded room, you will instantly find anybody who b-boys instantly. Like you cannot not dance to that track. So that's one where it's even the 45 goes for huge money.
And then the Shadows, which is the Apache, and most of you, if you grew up watching Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, the night that Carlton stripped, he danced to Apache.
Yeah.
There, I'm bringing it all together for everybody.
Yeah. Babe Ruth. This is again the first bass album has the Mexican on it, and the Mexican is a track again sampled. I think Jizza from Wu-Tang Clan just did a single using that sample. A buddy of mine, actually the one I designed the Record Store Day label for, 2 years ago he did a b-boy thing called Give a Poor Man a Break, and he used the Mexican sample and got a lot of notoriety with that as well. So that's again a case of a valuable record if you can find it, because DJs want to sample it. The Revolution Will Not Be Televised. This is a big, like, there's music, spoken word. This is mainly spoken word. This is an influence for a lot of these guys like The Coup, Dead Prez, which if you haven't heard of them, Dead Presidents. This is my copy of Get Free or Die Trying. Let's Get Free is the name of the album. This is autographed by both M1 and Stick, who I was fortunate enough to dance at one of their concerts. Amazing. And if you're into socially minded music, Dead Prez, The Coup, Immortal Technique, amazing. But these guys, a lot of these were influenced by that track. Common Sense, if you're familiar, he did a intro saying the revolution will not be televised. They're all doing shout-outs basically to that album, and I have that album as well somewhere here, the Gil Scott-Heron. Yeah, so that's a...
And I will say Common, if you don't know who Common is, he's an incredible actor. If you're not a hip-hop fan, you might have seen him. He's in some great movies, some great TV shows. He is awesome.
Absolutely. Let's Clean Up the Ghetto. I have this album as well. This is one that's like, again, I found mine in a thrift store for $1. It's a $20 record, so if you're trying to flip records, that's a high profit margin. And when most of the records in your shop are joking Chariots of Fire and Barbra Streisand, like these are. So I just wanted to hit everybody because you're not going to find the Holy Grails. It's very rare. One Holy Grail I do have in the hip hop element is the Gray album by Danger Mouse. This is how he got his notoriety. He did it as an art project. He only made 1,000 of them and sent them out to friends and like people in the industry. And he took the Black album by Jay-Z, just the lyrics, and then the White album by the Beatles and only the music from that. So all the sampling and everything is 100% from the White album. And then he mixed them, thus the Gray album.
I have it somewhere. What the hell? There it is.
Yeah, there you go. So that sold for $230. I got mine early on. I paid, I think, $40 for mine, and as you can see, that's worth a lot of money. And that's a CD. That's not even vinyl. There's a new release now that has Jay-Z and the Beatles, like caricatures of them on there. That's a repress. This is actually burned off of Danger Mouse's computer and then shared with, whoever. So, yeah. So anyway, you're not all going to find Holy Grails. I hope you do find one. But I wanted to sprinkle in some other stuff that vinyl is profitable if you know what you're looking for. You're going to have to isolate to genre, I would say, and to a certain type. There's some people who only do 45s. There's people who only do imports. Get the hang of one facet of it before you branch out, because as you can see, there's tons. We're already almost an hour over, and I scratched the surface. I apologize if it was muddled.
I think we're gonna have to have you on again.
Yeah, and we can do like a specific section. That way, I can be more thorough with less.
I think we're gonna have to have you as a guest again. Yeah, for
yeah, because I gotta say, amazing. For a couple reasons. I learned something tonight. I know Nadine learned a lot, but even though you have more knowledge and more depth than me, I see a kinship in my brother Bobby here that we're gonna go dig for records one day. So speaking of,
absolutely.
let me talk about this collection real quick.
Let's do it.
And then we'll finish up with Nadine. But I've been wanting to sell this for years. I finally drug it out, and I'm going to quiz you.
Oh, no. Here we go.
All right. So I'm putting
joke right at the end.
I'm putting Bobby on the spot, okay? All this is one artist and related. Tell me who this artist is.
Wow.
Oh, I stumped Bobby.
And related.
Yes, so this is one of the biggest artists in the world. This was his idea of smooth jazz.
Oh my God, dude! I don't know. You got me.
These are Prince records.
Oh shit! Really?
Prince made smooth jazz records, and he called them 8 and 16. And you would never know, other than the fact that it is on Paisley Park Records.
Yeah. Holy cow!
And they're horrible, but very, very collectible on both vinyl and CD because they don't produce them anymore. So all of this is Prince and related. Now, when I say related, if you're going to sell a lot by an artist, there is more than just the artist, okay? So.
Oh, no, you got, like, Batman should be in there.
Okay, so Wendy and Lisa was his keyboardist and guitarist. Yep. So they had solo records. Apollonia 6 was his first girl group.
Yeah.
And then he had really small side projects. This is Maserati.
Yeah.
This is Ta Mara. Most people don't know them, but of course most people know The Time.
Yeah. So, and I was going to bring that album out too. And that's what Bruno Mars and Mark Ronson directly bit off of, was that album.
Prince was in a group called Minneapolis Genius back in the day. This was done in '77. And so they released it. He's just the guitar player on the album.
Yeah, I've never seen that.
When I was with Nadine in Philly, I picked up the very rare bootleg of Prince with Miles Davis.
Wow. I didn't know you got that there.
And Carmen Electra was one of his side projects. Morris Day solo. Yeah. And then in the stack here, I have tons of promo singles. So here's a promo single for the song Gold. And somebody asked about this earlier. It is on gold vinyl.
Yeah.
And so
colored vinyl is always a positive.
And then also Apollonia, we have Vanity 6.
Yeah.
And Jesse Johnson is a guitar player in the time, and he liked Pink, so his records came out on Pink vinyl.
That's crazy.
And then here is an entire promo album. So these are the things that are going to sell for money. This is the album Come. It wasn't a big album, but it's a double promo full record.
Yeah.
So there's 2 records in here. And then Prince also had picture discs. So here
can I add one thing on the promo when you're done with that one?
Yeah. So here is a shaped picture disc.
Yeah.
Flying away in a balloon. That's so what I was going to say to you is, looking at all this, if it was yours, would you break out the rare stuff or sell it as one of the most amazing lots of Prince stuff together?
I would. That's where you get, just like with the Beatles, I would say your rare stuff, you're going to get more money because you're going to have 5-6 people who want that record and will spend as much for that one record as they would for that whole pile to throw away most of that pile.
Gotcha.
So your rare stuff I would piece, and then I would sell, as an extensive. That's big, man. I mean, because I've seen it with Beatles where they do the Paul, the George, the Ringo albums, everybody, even Julian Lennon. Like, I've seen that where they got all the facets, all the Yoko. But most people don't want Julian and Yoko. So I don't know how many people want all those.
People are probably not looking for Maserati, but it's one of those things where if you dig into Prince, he produced them, he wrote them, he had like 6 aliases, like Christopher Ryan or something. So you look at these records, and Prince is all over them, but most people don't know that.
He has albums fully recorded that have never been released. He just hang on to them in his personal record. Here's a shaped one, looks like a teardrop on the heels of that one you showed me. But the promo thing, I don't know if the link is still up, Sad Clown Bad Dub 2, but out of the holy grails of hip-hop, as you were saying about a all-out promo album, all the Sad Clown Bad Dub records were only released at live concerts, and there was only a certain amount while they were on tour that they had, so you could only get it if you went to the concert. All the artwork and everything was written by hand and drawn by hand. And Sad Clown Bad Dub 2 by Atmosphere is one of the rarest and most desired. That's, again, $200 to $300 for just that CD. Sorry, that was the last thing on the promo side.
Wow, I'm sweating. That was a lot of information, and I know the chat loved it. We are going to have you back, sir, because that was the bomb diggity.
Definitely.
We will keep it to. We will try to keep it to an hour, but that, I mean, I saw people saying, I got to rewatch this show. There's so much.
Yeah, we definitely have to have you back on.
Amazing. So, Bobby, don't hang up. We'll talk to you after we're done. I'm going to put you on pause for a minute because Nadine wants to finish the show. So, thank you, Bobby, very much. We love you.
Thank you all. Yeah.
You are the bomb diggity. Thanks, Bobby. All right. And so I want to thank everyone for tuning in, staying with us. You learned a lot today. You can take this and run with it and make some money. Bobby will come back. As you can see, I got some skills and records, so we can talk about it. It's awesome. But I want to hand the mic over to Nadine. Those of you who are maybe tuning in for the first time, if you're still hanging with us, Nadine has breast cancer. We've raised money for it. We're raising awareness for it. And so she wants to talk a little bit about that, and then we will call it a day and go have more cocktails. So here you go, Nadine.
Okay, so first of all, can everybody see my strong shirt on today? Woo! All right, so I don't know who's still tuning in, but I do have some stuff to say. I just wanted to say thank you for the great support that has come in through our fan page. I'm overwhelmed with the positive comments and the love and the support, and I'm not usually a public person, but I'm glad I've shared my diagnosis and my story on the show because I believe that hopefully I'm inspiring and motivating some others who are suffering from breast cancer or other cancers as well. As I mentioned last week, our Bucked for a Bra contest was very successful. Thank you to all who participated and donated to the National Breast Cancer Foundation. We've already raised an impressive amount to NBCF for breast cancer research, awareness, and to help other women with breast cancer. Thank you specifically to Lauren Schultz of the NBCF for reaching out to us and helping us set up our own Thrifty business donation page, which will launch very soon, so please stay tuned for that. I'd also like to thank some of my new friends who are tuning in tonight. I don't know if they're still tuning in, but they were tuning in earlier. It's a local online breast cancer support group, and they've reached out to me with a lot of support and kindness. And so I want to say a special shout out to Jennifer, Christina, Heidi, Jody, Megan, Jamie, and all of those who have reached out. They knew who they are. We're all Pink Sisters, and I appreciate the support and help. I wasn't going to get into specifics about my treatment or what I'm going through, but I've kind of changed my mind on that now. I'm going to be open in my journey in the upcoming weeks, and I hope that it can inspire, help, and motivate others who are going through something similar. On Monday, I will be going through a 6-hour surgery. I'll be having a double mastectomy, and I will begin the process of reconstruction, which will consist of several difficult surgeries over the course of a year. I'm not sure if they will find cancer in my lymph nodes. That will be determined on Monday during the surgery. I also need to wait a week for the pathology report to obtain all of the facts about my cancer. I don't know if it's spread. I do know it's spread far in my right side, but I don't know how contained and what stage I'm in. So I'll find out more after Monday's surgery. I may be facing chemo, and I do know that I have a long fight and journey ahead. But I have a great support system, which I'm appreciated for, and I have no doubts that I will kick cancer's butt. So I'm going to try to do my best to still do next Thursday's show. I'll be 3 days post-surgery, but hopefully you'll still see me, and I may still be in the hospital or newly discharged, which I'm hoping I can get out of there soon. I'm sure I'll be in pain. I may be a little bit foggy due to the pain medicine, but I'm still determined to be here, so hopefully you will see me next week. If not, I do have our good friend Joy, who has kindly volunteered to be my backup. Finally, I want to leave everyone with a breast cancer awareness fact every week, which I'd like to do. Here's one of the most common facts that you may not know. 1 in every 8 women will be diagnosed with breast cancer in their lifetime. That's an astoundingly high number, and I'm hoping to help change that.
And I'm going to arrest cancer, so we're going to get it out of you, girlfriend. We're going to get you good. And I want to thank everyone. I want to thank our guests. Holy shit, was that awesome. What a course tonight. I want to thank Nadine for being an awesome co-host and my buddy. And we're all going to be thinking about you next week.
Thank you.
And we have a fun show next week. Jenny Hess, my good friend from back home in Cleveland.
And I'm hoping I'll still be there 3 days out of my mastectomy surgery. I'm still planning to be on the show. So.
And the Pudgy Picker. Check her out on YouTube before you tune in next week. She is our guest. She's got a nice YouTube channel. She is an awesome chick. So we're going to have a good show next week. We had a great show this week. I'm sorry it was so long, but I know you got good content. You can learn a lot this week. Go out, make some money, thrift hard, and thanks for tuning in. Please share it with your friends, and tell anyone that's going through cancer they should tune in, because Nadine is a very uplifting person and very motivational. So for me, I say thank you. And Nadine?
Yep, thank you, everyone. And hopefully I'll see you next week. I might be a little drugged up and a little sore, but hopefully I will still be on the show. I'm going to try really hard to do it. So,
thanks, everybody. Have a good weekend, and we will see you next week. Peace out.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
What's happening, everybody? Welcome to episode 4 of Thrifty Business with Jay and Nay. I'm your one host, Vegas Jay.
And I'm Philly Nay. Hi.
What's happening, everybody? All right. Let me start with just, we're going to go a little bit different out of order. This is my best thrifted find in forever. It's an actual cop uniform that fits me. Even the sleeves fit me. This is awesome. So I got this at Savers yesterday for $3. Woo! How you doing, Nay?
I'm great. How are you?
I am good. You know what I'm ready for?
Are you ready for the scores of the week?
No. What do we do first? We do a little Jay's Tiki Talk.
Oh, I forgot about our Tiki Talk.
We've been talking about cocktails all day, and you forgot?
I'm sorry, I forgot your Tiki Talk, yes.
Oh, my gosh. How can that be? How can that be?
And I'm sitting here with my cocktail, too.
All right, so this week, Nay wanted to partake again with me in the same cocktail. So we have done a Sailor Jerry cocktail. It's called a Sailor Jerry Grog, and it's a combo of Sailor Jerry rum, orange juice, and light beer. So here's my mug. So cheers to you, my dear.
Cheers.
Now, you might think that sounds horrible, but it's awesome.
It's actually very good, yeah.
But let's talk about this mug a little bit. This is the Mr. Bali Hai, and the Bali Hai is a tiki restaurant in San Diego, still going to this day. It's been around forever. This is a modern version of their mug, which I'll be drinking out of tonight. I also have the vintage version. Now, you need a little lesson here. What you're looking for in the vintage versions is two things. And it's a two-part mug. See, it's got the little lid for the straw holes. What they did was they used what's called cold paint for the red. So see, there's red on the lips, and then there's a little bit of red in the eyes. Over years, people put them in dishwashers and stuff, and that red goes bye-bye. So you're looking for the red. And then the other thing you're looking for is this bone breaks off quite frequently. If you can see, this one was broke off and repaired. So if you find one of these with the red and an unbroken bone in the nose, you're sitting pretty. And then if you are really lucky, you find one with a sticker. So that's the original Otagiri Mercantile Company sticker right there. So, but I did not want to drink out of my vintage one, because if I happen to break it, I'd rather break the modern one. So cheers.
And I have my same Jekyll and Hyde mug from the Thrift Hunter show that I always have.
Wait, you don't have 850 mugs?
No, I only have one real nice mug. That's it.
We got to get you a couple more cocktail glasses, though, for the...
Great tiki mug in the vase section with the dollar store vases around it. Or you might find... in the children's section, I found that awesome Chiquita biker jersey that I had shown last week. That was in the kids section, and it's a women's shirt. So you never know what you're going to find in what section of the store. Often things are miscategorized. So if you're just shopping by section by what you sell, you're going to miss out. So you should expect the unexpected in all sections, because things are often misfiled in the thrift stores.
And before I jump into mine, and I will, real quick, somebody was saying they had a hard time finding the link to get into the show. So let me tell you where it's easiest to find it. Number one, our fan page, Thrifty Business with Jay and Nay on Facebook. Please stop by, like our fan page. We got tons of funny pictures. We're going to have some fun videos. We always have the link to the show, probably a couple times in a week. But yeah, come on by there. If you're in Thrifting with the Boys, the link is always in there. And if you click on follow me on the YouTube channel that you're on right now watching this, it'll alert you when new things come up, like this show or any other videos we put up. So those are the easiest ways to find us. Probably the best, other than subscribing to me on YouTube, is Thrifty Business with Jay and Nay. All right, so here is my Thrifty tip of the week. And it works really well into our guest. Our guest is going to talk about records. I went to a record store today, and I took in 144 pieces of crap. When I buy collections, I work them so I sell them. So whether it's records or CDs, DVDs, tapes, whatever, I work them until the crap is left, and I pile it up, and then if I'm near a record store, I trade them in. So I took 144 things that nobody wanted anywhere, and I got $190 in trade for them. Now, they were very slow today, and I was getting annoyed, and I bought a couple CDs and a record. But they now have a book section, so here's your big tip. If you're in a bookstore, if you're in a thrift store, if you're in a record store that has books, go find the section where the music books are, the guitar tabs or the pianos. And here's the books I bought, and I'll tell you what I paid and what they're worth. So I used the Amazon app to quickly scan them. I paid $3.99 for this. But, I mean, I really didn't pay because I used trade, but the cheapest one on Amazon is $100. This is the band 311. I paid $6.99. The cheapest one on Amazon is $85. This is Dashboard Confessional. I paid $6. Amazon price $25. This is The Producers from Mel Brooks, the musical. Whoops, that way. I paid $5. Its cheapest one is $23. Fear Factory. Oh wait, I'm actually gonna save that one because that one will blow your mind. What do we got here? The Light in the Piazza. It's I think it's a musical. I paid $8 for the weeks to come because, you know, it is about the tiki mug, but it also can be about, you know, the rocks glass, the Mai Tai glass, you know, stuff like that.
I'm interested in getting more glassware. That would be good.
Alrighty, now we can jump into our score of the week.
Now we do the scores of the week, yes.
Yep, and I was on the wrong. There we go.
I see the screen. We're good.
There we go. All right, so let's go to my score first. And my score, if you watched Thrift Hunters, my score was actually purchased about the same time that I purchased the Rad jacket, which you saw me sell on Thrift Hunters for $800. This one wasn't as exciting, but I did get a nice return on it. And this is from the movie Street Fighter, which wasn't a real great movie. A bunch of us loved the video game when we were kids. but it was a specific jacket for, I'll zoom in on it, the Australia-Thailand tour of the movie from 1994. So I bought this for $10, and even though it says 124, I sold it for 110 2 days ago. So very fun return, good return on a $10 investment. So those of you who don't look in the jacket section, you're leaving money behind. Go to your jacket section. There is always cool shit in the jacket section, trust me. All right, let's jump right to Nays. We're not even going to unfreeze the screen. We're going to keep right in it, and we're going to jump right to Nays' score. So here's her first one. Go,
okay.
Nay.
So I sold, J. Crew always sells well for me for some reason. However, this one was new with tags, and it was a really heavy winter cotton shirt. It's a men's shirt. And this just proves that you should always sell internationally, because it sold last night to a man who lives in Latvia. And in Latvia, it is winter right now. It's cold there. So he would need a heavy knit cotton button front shirt like this. So he paid over $30 to ship it priority to Latvia. I shipped it this morning, and so it's on its way, and that just shows that always sell internationally and always sell all seasons all year round, because it's always the opposite season somewhere else in the world.
Where the hell is Latvia?
It's where my shirt is going. So.
Good answer. Good answer. And then here's your other score. Sorry, I didn't...
Yes, this is a score from a little while back, actually. But this was a heavy Nordic cable knit. It was a wool cardigan. However, it was the key word in here is equestrian. It was an equestrian brand, and the equestrian followers will definitely buy anything that's related to equestrian brand. Like there's a whole niche of equestrian brand sweaters and garments and whatnot. So that was the main key word that I think sold the sweater. So $70, not bad.
Not bad at all. All right, we've seen our scores. And now it's time for the dud of the week. All right, so we will pop over to Nadine's dud here, and let's see what she had for a dud. All right, uno momento, and then I will tell you I'm a little off today because our guest, who you'll see in a little bit, when I asked for a few links, he sent me 6 pages.
It's going to be awesome. Yeah.
That was the first time I've had that many links to bring up, so I was spending a lot of time getting them ready for our guest. All right, here is your dud. Let me get off the just the picture here.
Yes, and the reason that this is a dud is because I found this Nick and Zoe Nordstrom's skirt. It was a size 16, and it was new with tags in a thrift store, and I thought, you know, usually this brand will sell for about $40 or so. However, this is a lesson that when you have something that's new with tags, you should always inspect it very carefully, because it had some flaws. It had a button that was loose. It could be mended, but it really wasn't worth it because it also had a big mark on the top of it. So I disclosed all of that. I actually messaged the buyer and made sure that she was aware of the flaws, and she said, yeah, that's fine. She still wants it. So I didn't actually sell it. I ended up selling it as pre-owned, and I just listed the flaws, and it sold only for $16.99 with free shipping. So that is what I would call a dud. So the lesson there is to always check items, even if they're new with tags. Don't assume that they're going to be in perfect condition just because of that.
And here's my dud. This is a dud again because, once again, I was busy thrifting with friends, and I wasn't paying that close attention. Typically, when you find WWF stuff that is still that it says WWF, because it's been WWE for a long, long time, because the pandas won out over the wrestlers. If you don't know what that means, Google WWF lawsuit. But I thought this was a large, and then when I got it home and looked at it, I'm like, oh, shoot, it's a kid's large. And it sat in my store for since October, and I finally sold it today for $10. So I was happy to see it go. But, yeah, so look for WWF stuff. Just kind of ignore the the kid end of it. So, but that being said, if you find something really old WWF kid stuff, you know, maybe, but this wasn't old enough.
Knowing about children's clothing, I would say that would be the maximum price that you would get for something like that if it was a youth shirt.
And see, that's where it comes in handy to have you as my co-pilot. All right, we've done our scores, we've done our duds, and now it is time for... our close encounters of the thrifty kind. I need to set mine up, so Nadine, you are first.
Okay. So my odd encounter was at my favorite Goodwill here in Philadelphia. I had a woman in front of me in line who casually turned around. She was just kind of looking at me, and she said, "Honey, I think you can use my help." And I had no idea what she was talking about. And then she discreetly handed me a business card, and I looked at her business card, and it was Madam something. I can't find the card now, but she's a fortune teller, and she felt that I needed her fortune-telling services. So it was just an odd place, an odd time to be solicited fortune-telling services, you know, in line at the Goodwill. So that was my thrifty encounter.
So let me ask you, when she said you could use my services, did anything run through your head, like what are her services going to be?
Oh yeah, I was wondering what she was slipping me there, but it was a fortune-telling card. It was but yeah, I had no idea what she was talking about. It was a very odd encounter.
All right, so I'm about to show everyone a picture. I apologize in advance if you have not seen this picture already, but it really much involves my thrifty close encounters of the thrifty kind. So we had the eBay radio party here last week, and at a side party we threw, this picture of me was taken. No shirt, eBay tutu. And I posed for it. I knew it was up there. It was not a surprise. But I walked into a estate sale this weekend, and I was there for about 2 minutes, and the people running the estate sale said, "Oh, I saw you topless with a tutu on Facebook." So I guess people follow me everywhere I go.
Yes. And I even texted Jason that night, and I said, "Are you aware that picture of you is up there?" And he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm fine with it." It's like, okay.
I posed for it, you know.
Yeah. So I just wanted to check. That was all.
Two things about me is I always go for the joke, and I just have no shame or fear.
No, you don't.
Because I know people will laugh. Some people are like, "Oh, my eyes," but, you know, it was funny. So, yeah, I see people being scary. Yeah, I know. I am not an Adonis. I got that. I'm a big bear. Alrighty, so let's go to our thrifty tip of the week. Well, it would help to have it on the screen. Oh, I was going so smooth too. Damn, let's try it again. All right, Nate, what's your thrifty tip of the week?
My thrifty tip of the week is to not expect just every section of the store to have its said section items in it. What I'm trying to say is if you just shop certain sections, you're going to be missing out, because you never know when you're going to find that Robert Graham men's shirt in the women's section, or that